What's up, everybody? You were tuned in to the Cris
Am
podcast, episode 176, Takeover Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday night, whatever you're doing. You're at home, you're at work, whatever you're doing. Hope you're having a good evening. Appreciate y'all tuning in with the show with us tonight. If you're listening on the playback, we appreciate you too. Hit that like button. If you're a new subscriber, hit the subscribe button. We got a lot to get into. We got NBA Finals. We got Big 12 conference college football preview. We're gonna do. Um, we're gonna do random news, LeBron's ring culture conversation. I'm gonna do a ranking system with Maul with wide receivers, and yeah, man, we got things to talk about. Before we do that, Maul, how you feeling?
feeling good, man. You know what I mean? Chill day. You know what I mean? Sorry, a little bit delayed. That's my fault. I had to eat, bro. I had to eat. I could not do the show without eating. But
Yeah,
that's
you
my
good?
fault. But I'm feeling good, man. How you feeling?
I'm cool, man. I'm all right. You know, just chilling. But ready to do this show.
Man, let's do it.
All right, man. Let's get into the NBA Finals, man. The Thunder are up. Was it 3-2, right?
3-2.
Uh,
Yep.
yeah. So the Thunder are up. They end up winning big on Monday. Um, Pretty much, they controlled the whole game. It looks like you know the Thunder. This series is weird, man, because 1 minute the Thunder look like they're just a step ahead of the Pacers, and then 1 minute they just allow the Pacers to just stick around and win the game. So, um, how are you feeling? Do you think this is over? Do you think Thunder got this in the bag? I don't. I know they said Halliburton was hurt, so I don't know if he's playing tomorrow. But how are you feeling about the overall series?
Um, Look, man, this has been a really truly competitive series. This has been one of the better NBA finals that we've gotten. I would say in the last couple of years. I would definitely say like that Celtics Warriors series was really entertaining as well. But just the back and forth. Um, Obviously, I'll say this: the Thunder did win that game. There was moments in that game where you could tell the youth, and I would honestly even say the nervousness and maybe a little bit of fear started starting getting to him a little bit. Especially with like Chet Holmgren, you kind of saw it. Some bad passes, some bad reads, some bad foul calls, and stuff like that. But Aaron Wiggins had a big game off the bench. Casey Wallace, he had a decent game. Those two guys, I think the last two games they had in Indiana, those guys really didn't perform like that, but they showed out on their home court. And then obviously Jalen Williams, man, but what can you say? He had a 40-point game. He's probably the main reason why they won this game. He just had the control. Like you see with his game, man. He's truly skilled. It seems like he was coming into his own. I know there's been a lot of questions with him coming into the season about just how much he could progress to see if they can get this team over the hump. He was definitely one of the big question marks, especially after what we saw in last year's playoff against the Dallas Mavericks, where he was like kind of nowhere to be found. Um, and the big question is, would he be able to like get over the hump? Would he able to learn from his past mistakes that we saw that he made in the Dallas series last year, which they lost? And could he carry that into in this year's playoffs and perform it? And he could be one of the main reasons why this team is viewed the way a lot of people view this team, as a very scary young team that if they win this year, who knows where it could take them? You know what I mean? The confidence level that they could have. So we all knew what we were going to get from Shea. I know Shea's been, he's been battling through tough defensive schemes. You got to tip your cap off to Nebhard and kind of the defensive pressure that he's been putting on Shea. But Shea is Shea. We know he's going to be able to, get his points, and he'll eventually find his way. And I think he's starting to figure out the whole press situation, how he can find his moments to, get to his spots and make key shots in big moments. So, but Jalen Williams, man, he was the ultimate star in this game, and you know what? And I know a lot of questions are going on with Tyrese Halliburton and his injury. I know Rick Carlisle said he's going to be a game time decision. I know it's kind of 50-50 in the air right now. I know he's going to try to test everything through walkthrough tomorrow. I would be shocked if he doesn't try to give it a go. I get it; it's a very scary injury with that calf muscle, especially. We already saw two great players go down with Achilles injuries with Damian Lillard and Jason Tatum. So You obviously want to be very mindful of that. If you're the Indiana Pacers, I get it. You're in the NBA Finals. This is kind of like, everything's on the line right here. If you lose, everything is over. But you also gotta it's kind of you gotta find that healthy balance. Like what's you want to go all in, but at the same time, you don't want to jeopardize the future of your team for the next couple of years. If Tyrese Halliburton were to tear his Achilles or have a more serious injury, which we all hope he doesn't, that could jeopardize all their plans that they have going on in the future. You kind of see where the Celtics are with that Jason Tatum injury. You don't want to go through the same situation. But again, I would be shocked if he doesn't play. I expect a tough game. I don't think this is going to be even if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't play, I don't see this being the Oklahoma City Thunder blow. I think that team is going to play very, very hungry. They're going to play with pride. We all know they're going to play tough. They're going to play fast. And obviously, they're going to play very, very inspired within that home crowd. They are a very tough beat in Indiana. So I think it's going to be a close game. In my heart, I do think Oklahoma City Thunder will win this game. They will find a way to win this game just based on just the health aspect of Tyrese Halliburton. And you're going to put so much pressure on Pascal Siakam and the rest of these guys to perform. Are you going to get the same TJ McConnell performance that you got last game? But we have seen, this is a very mirror image of the Denver Nuggets series. We have seen the Oklahoma City Thunder up 3-2 going into Denver, and they put up a big dud, and they had to go win a Game 7. So that is a possibility as well. But I'm going to go with the Thunder. I'm going to go with Shea. He's going to get announced as the Finals MVP. And, sadly, it'll be the last NBA basketball game that will have any meaning until October. So that's kind of my expectations on this whole series right now.
Yeah, man, I agree with your sentiments, man. I just think that I think the Thunder see it right there. They see the crown right there. They see the chance to finally get over that hump and get that championship that everybody thought. They see championship team when you watch this team and when you see this team. Even from the beginning, we picked the Thunder to win the championship this year because they're so loaded at so many spots, and they're a young team, which makes it more scarier. So um I just expect Shea and the gang, they know what's at hand, and they've let it slip too many times. I just think that they're gonna go out there and they're gonna put it all on the court, and they're gonna be hoisting the trophy on tomorrow.
Yeah.
So all right, man. We'll see, though. We'll see. Indiana still got a chance. Paige Siaka, he's been there for you before. You know what I'm saying? He's played in this big game before. I know he had Kawhi Leonard with him, but still, he's been in these games and he's played well in these games. So he's definitely going to have a big game tomorrow. Anything north of 30 from Siakam is going to happen, especially if Halliburton can't go or if he's at a limited capacity. Yeah, he's going to have a big game. Miles Turner's going to have a big game, and a few other those guys are going to have big games, especially off the bench. So, yeah, if they want to take it to Game 7 and possibly have Halliburton be there for Game 7, they're definitely going to have to pull out a all-time great game out of all of them. So,
yeah.
All right, man. Complex does it again. And we know how we love those complex lists. Matter of fact, this is what I'm gonna do because this list is hella small. I'm gonna send it.
I can see it. I can see it fine.
Okay.
I could see it. Yeah, I can see everything right now.
Okay. All right. So hold on. Oh, that version. All right, so they got number one. This is the complex top 50 diss records of all time. So all your diss tracks, all on one list. Now, some of these songs on here I don't agree with, but I want to get Maul's opinion on this. So
yeah,
number one, they have Not Like Us. Now we all know the impact of Not Like Us. It very well shattered, I ain't gonna say ended, but it shattered one of the greatest top artists in this era in Drake. It put a damper on his his aura, should I say, that he had where he could do no wrong. You know what I'm saying? And now he's the butt end of a lot of jokes. And it hasn't been a good 2024, and I don't think it's been a good 2025 for him. So
Mhm.
uh and this song kind of put the nail in that coffin when it comes to that. So I can see why this could be number one because of the impact of this song. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'm not mad. I know a lot of people might think this might be like a recency bias type of
It
situation, but
is
look, at the
probably.
end of the day, we seen the true impact, and Not Like Us. I think Not Like Us has been number one. I forgot how many weeks. Not Like Us was number one. Compared to a lot of these other songs like Hit 'Em Up and Take Over Ether and stuff like that. The impact is global. You know what I mean? I think it just hit a global spectrum, especially this being labeled as one of the better rap battles of all time. You know what I mean? Between these two heavy hitters with Kendrick Lamar and Drake, the highly anticipated um, situation, and just the whole fact that Kendrick Lamar, played the Drake hand. He made a catchy beat, catchy tune, catchy song, and it was the one that kind of took took the took the win, gave him the dub. So I'm not mad at it being number one. I understand the recency bias in that kind of conversation. I'm not going to sit there and dismiss anybody if they want to have that conversation. You know what I mean? Obviously, we got to feel the longevity of it. Like, Not Like Us. Like, you still hear people, playing Hit 'Em Up. We still hear Jay-Z's Takeover. We still hear Ether. We still hear No Vaseline and stuff like that. Even Drake's back to back. You know what I mean? Just the significance in some of them songs. But obviously we got to see the longevity game with this, but I'm not mad at it. I'm not gonna sit there and complain about it.
Um, well, let's get to number two. Tupac hit him up. Now, there was no internet. There was no, you couldn't just pull this up. And
Yeah,
so the impact of this song hit in a way where, just from the intro of I want to fuck you. That's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. Like, and I've always said this about this song. It wasn't so much about the lyrical, even though there were some quotables in this song. It's not so much of the lyrical content and the rapping part. Is the end. Is when he started talking shit. When
yeah,
Tupac started talking shit about Biggie. My fofo, make sure all your kids won't grow and all that, and talking bad to Mob Deep and all that. And rest in peace, Prodigy. But
mhm,
it was more so the ending, and we all know Pac. Like Pac, he goes on a rant real quick on every song that he's on that like has this type of energy. So that's why the impact of this song was so, and who he was going at the time. Biggie was larger than life at the
yeah,
time. So for him to come, he's on death row and fresh out of prison, and death row bad boy, they had their tension or whatever, and he drops this, you know what I'm saying? And then he's making accusations that he slept with Faith, and it's just like the impact, you had to be there. Like
mhm,
if you weren't around, you weren't born, or you was just a little baby around this time, you won't understand the true impact of Hit 'Em Up. Like Cats was literally just pushing play and replaying this song over and over. So
yeah, yeah.
what's your thoughts?
No, I totally agree with you in that whole sentiment, man. We all know the impact and what Tupac meant to the whole hip hop culture, and just that whole epic battle with him and Biggie and stuff like that. It started a whole West Coast East Coast type of situation, and how heated that got. Like I honestly have nothing else to add to that, man. And you're 100% correct.
Now, this is where it gets interesting because Takeover and Ether are going to be synonymous with each other.
Mhm.
And look, the way how Cats was, in this day and age, people will be like, oh, you got like, what's your name got 2 days to drop something, or he lost. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
that wasn't the sentiment back then. Like, Takeover came out and people were looking at Nas like, hey, yo, what you gonna do? And Ether, like, I think Jay Z dropped Takeover on September 11th.
Mhm.
Ether didn't drop till December 4th on Jay Z's birthday.
Mhm.
So if if it was this year, this time and age standards, people be looking at Nas kind of crazy. but it wasn't like that back then. Now, when Takeover came out, I will admit it took me a while to kind of really get into Takeover
Hmm.
because I guess it was the beat. It
Yeah.
was kind of the beat. The beat is different. You know what I'm saying? But as you listen to the words, especially the stuff that he said to Mob Deep, and then the stuff he said to Nas in that third verse, is just kind of like, yeah, he talking crazy to you. You know what I'm saying? But then when Ether dropped and you hear that fuck Jay-Z, like I remember I put that in my car for my homies to hear. And we sat there and listened to the whole from word. And when we were done, it was like, damn,
Hmm.
we got to smoke Jay-Z on that one. So,
Yeah.
and if you let like a lot of East Coast people, when they talk about these two songs, they act like Ether is not that good. Unless like probably from Queens or whatever. But a lot of people are more partial to Takeover from the East Coast than they are, especially from New York. They're
Hmm.
more partial to Takeover than they are Ether.
Yeah.
Whereas the people on the outside, like live in different states, will tell you up and down, Ether was the shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you could say that Ether put a chink in because Jay-Z was larger than life at that time. He was the
But
guy.
yeah,
He was
Blueprint
the
was big.
dude.
Blueprint was
Yeah,
big. Yeah.
yeah, he was the guy. And so when Ether dropped, it kind of put a chink in Jay-Z's armor. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like I ain't gonna say it killed, but it put a chink in it. You know what I'm saying? And I would say this beef kind of revived Nas's career because at the time Nas was not. People were looking at Nas like, oh, where's Nas at? Like
Mhm.
he ain't doing what he used to do. His music ain't hitting like it used to hit. And then I think this beef, and then that Still Illmatic album as a whole, I just felt like that revived his whole career and got him back on track to being the Nas that we all come and love to hear. So, um, I'm more partial to Ether, but I know cats that are more partial to Takeover. So, what's your thoughts?
I agree with you. Like at the end of the day, it, we're stringing hairs at this point as far as like which one would you prefer. I think it's all personal preference with this.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a great reminder though that people got to stop. Like it kind of happened with the Kendrick Lamar and Drake shit, where it's just like, all right, you know what, Kendrick dropped, he said some shit. All right, Drake, we need something in like 5 minutes. If you don't say
Mm-hmm.
nothing in an hour, you asked out, my brother. And then when Drake came back, then it's like, nah, we need some. It's like, bro, like it just shows that you know what, you got to be calculated in the situations when you want to do these rap battles. You just don't want to go head first and not know the whole situation as far as like what you're combating with, especially in high hip hop aura and territory with guys like Nas, Jay-Z, Kendrick, Tupac, Biggie, and all these guys, man. You gotta have a plan. And we saw that with Drake. He didn't really have a great plan. And that's pretty much the main reason why he lost that battle. And I hate to keep
Mm-hmm.
going back to that battle, but it's a great representation of that. I think with these two, man, this is an ultimate classic battle between Ether and Takeover. I think it's all
Mm-hmm.
personal preference. And honestly, it's kind of like a situation on who you fuck with the most at this point. I'm sure at that time. But hey, man, me personally, I probably would have went with Ether ahead of Takeover, but I said it's a conversation that I'm always willing to have with anybody, and it's not gonna be like one of those heated conversations where I think like, oh no, you're dead ass wrong. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I can see it, I can understand it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we're picking at hairs, we're picking at strands right now, and you know what, man, both of these are classics. That's all you can really say about it.
Yeah, for sure. The bridge is over. Um, by KRS-One, which is BDP, that's Buggy Down Productions. But KRS-One, that was him and MC Shan. That was a classic battle from back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be a true hip hop head to know that battle. Um, because that's back when MC Shan, he's from Queens too, and he came out with the bridge. And then KRS-One, who, you know what I'm saying, actually he came out with South Bronx, which is number 16. He came out with South Bronx, and then I think MC Shan came out with Kill That Noise, and then that's when KRS-One dropped the Bridges Over, which that beat for Bridges Over is still a classic to this day.
Yeah.
And it's the most simplest boom bap, boom bap, bap, boom. It's the most simplest beat, but it's so hard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just the bridge is over, the bridge is over. Like That all that is hard, but I don't know if it's number 5.
Or where would you? What would be ahead of that? What would you replace that
Like
at?
I got no Vaseline over that for sure, for sure.
Okay, okay,
Like
okay. Yeah,
what Cube did on No Vaseline, like he smoked everybody in NWA
yeah,
on that song.
yeah, yeah,
And you could argue that No Vaseline is, you could argue is one of the top. It's the top this record. You can argue it because he was a one man show taking on a crew.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
That's true.
at that time, Cube was the guy. See, people, you young folks, you YNs out there, y'all know Cube for the movies and stuff like that. There was a time when Ice Cube was the man. There was a time where Ice Cube was my favorite rapper. So
Yeah,
when No Vaseline hit, it was just like, damn, why you talking to him like that?
yeah, yeah.
So
Like, nah, yeah, like I totally agree. Like, I honestly, obviously, I was hella young when this came out, but I
mhm.
think the movie probably did a really great representation on just the moment, like when it dropped. You know what I'm saying? When um all everybody from NWA is just sitting around listening to this song drop, and just the level of disrespect it was, man. It was like very, very disrespectful with Nose Vaseline, man. And just some of the things that Ice Cube was saying, man. Ice Cube was a lyrical monster, bro. He was like one of the best.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
can definitely say one of the best of all time, man. He was pretty much helped NWA get to where he was at. You know what I mean?
Of
And you
course.
just saw it with the whole storyline and what Ice Cube meant to that group, what he meant to Eazy-E and all that type of stuff. So, hey, man, Cube is Cube, man. Like, if you want to argue that it's number one, I said you can argue No Vaseline, you can argue either, you can argue Takeover, you can argue Hit Him Up, and I'm not like us. I understand the recency bias with that, but any one of those, if you guys want to put them at number one, me personally, I'm not going to be mad at you. You have an argument for any one of those. And I even think Pusha T story added on is one of the coldest too. I think you could put that up there too, with just the
Mhm.
disrespect and the truth that came out of that shit too, because we finally got to see Drake's kid. You know what I mean? That whole situation. Like, you could put Pusha T's story of added on up there as well. Even Drake's back to back. I can't be mad at that either. Any one of those, if you want to have the argument for number one, you can have the argument. I'm not going to be mad at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Um, not to dwell too much because there's so many songs on here.
Yeah.
Um, you know, the Dre Day is always gonna be a classic. That's just a great song.
Yeah.
But on top of he's dissing Easy, they're dissing Easy E, they're dissing Tim Dog, they're dissing a few other people on the song, and then the video made it more classic too.
Yeah.
So that song's always gonna be a classic. I'm not mad at it being in the top 10, 15, whatever. Second round knockout, you know, it's funny how when you're a kid in certain like because second round knockout is Cannabis diss to LL Cool J, and LL Cool J's response was "Can I Bust?" And I remember as a kid, I thought "Can I Bust?" was like the shit. I
Mhm.
love second round knockout, but I thought LL had just got him on "Can I Bust?" But as I've gotten older and listened to "Can I Bust?", I think that song is so corny now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I listened to second round outside the pause worthy bar that Cannabis said in that song. But um I think second round knockout is just a way better song. I just feel like he just like if Cannabis was a more higher selling record album selling artist, I think this song would hit more than what it has hit. Now in the hip hop community, people love second round knockout, but I think as a global thing, if he was just a little bit more, because he was too lyrical, miracle. Like he was just people. He wasn't gonna sell no records doing all that. But uh I still think second round knockout is still one of the best diss songs.
Yeah. No, I love 50 Cent's Back Down.
Yeah,
Um, I'm looking on this list.
Common the bitching you is very underrated.
It is. It is.
Him
I'm
dissing Cube in there.
I'm looking on this list. I'm looking. I'm looking. I just noticed. Where is the game?
Yeah,
Where is the game, dog?
100,
Like,
100, 100 bar, the 100 bars.
yeah, what are we talking about? What
Yeah,
are we
100
talking
bar,
about? Come
100
on,
bars should
man.
be on
Come
there.
on,
100
man.
bar, 100 bars should be on
Where
there.
is the game? Game should easily be top 15, bro.
Yeah, 100 bars should be on
Game
there.
should be easily top 15, maybe
He,
even top 10 if you really want to talk that shit. Like the
I
game,
think,
come on, man. What we
I
talking about?
think,
He's
I
like one of
think,
the best at
yeah,
this.
I think that song should be on there. You want to talk about recency bias?
Mhm.
I don't think Euphoria should be on this list.
Euphoria? I don't think like that should be on this list.
I don't think that should be on there either.
Because we're talking about like the only diss part that truly
Kendrick.
was a diss part was Kendrick's verse, which lasted like maybe a minute.
Yeah.
Like Euphoria, honestly, Euphoria deserves to be more on this list than like that. Like that does not need to be on this list. Like
And
that,
if you are gonna put Euphoria, it should be way down. I think.
yeah, like Euphoria, like if I'm gonna do
'Cause-
Euphoria, I would probably put it around the 35 range. I wouldn't be mad at that. Like, but yeah, like I wouldn't like you need to get the future Metro Boomin shit out of here. Like it don't need to be on this list. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I got Meet the Grams way over Euphoria.
Yeah, Meet the Grams is more yeah, like if you're gonna put anything, yeah, put Meet the Grams on there, yeah, for sure. Which I think people forget about that, you know, a lot, but
they do forget about it because it's not a bop, but the impact of what Meet the Gram, it was like the bridge to Not Like Us.
Yeah.
Because of what it did. It stepped on Family Matters.
Yeah, it did. It did. And Family Matters is good.
It's a good song. It really is. It's the best song that Drake did out of all these disses. And anybody else, he would have got out of there with that song.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, because I was saying, I've always said that in that song where he messed up, he spent too much time talking about everybody else. Yeah. That was the best parts of the song.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff he said about Kendrick, it aged like milk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Like, I don't think push-ups should be on there. I didn't like push-ups.
Push-ups don't need to be on there. Like, put if you want to put Meet the Grams a little bit higher, I'm not mad at that. I'm trying to remember Lauryn Hill Lost Ones. I don't remember that one.
That's the dish he had to Wyclef.
Oh, okay. For some reason I don't remember that one.
I forgot how that shit go too. But yeah, it's the diss. Cameron's Dear Stan, that's cool, but I like the song that he had, the diss record he had against Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Jadakiss, Benny Siegel freestyle, that should be on the list. I think
that's 42.
I like Benny Singles Put Your Hands Up. Yeah, his freestyle is dope. Against Jada, that definitely should be on the list. The Stillmatic freestyle.
I guess
Pusha T's Exodus against Lil Wayne. That was
what was that song with Ludacris and T.I. on it?
Oh, that was Stomp.
Why is this not on here?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna say like that, you can't say that song because it was just a verse.
But that verse was hard, bro. I'm sorry. That verse alone deserves to be on the fucking list. The verse alone deserves to be on. Like, look, I know I'm picking and choosing because I said that shit about like that, but like, Ludacris's verse was way harder than the like that shit. It was way harder than the like that shit. Way harder.
Yeah, I agree.
Man. People sleep on Luda.
The man said, "Stay off the TIP off my dick."
Luda was the man. He just did
a freestyle that was fire.
He did. No, he did.
On that Mutt track. So
he's still killing it. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man, Dollars and Cents by DJ Quick. That was a diss towards MC8. That's still a classic, even though he got a pause-worthy baller in that. But still, that's how niggas talk about this. Ain't nothing better. Tupac's Against All Odds is actually a really good song. He talking about Nas in that one. I think. Is there anything else that should be on here?
Trying to think.
I think T.I.'s 99 Problems diss to Lil Flip should be on here.
Yeah, you could definitely put that on there for sure. Overall, complex, bro. Just do better, bro, with these lists, man. Please.
You know how they are, man.
Just do better, bro. Oh my god.
It's all good though. All right, man. Let's talk about the Big 12 conference college football preview.
Mhm.
You got the stuff for that?
Come on, host. Come on, host. What's up, man? Obviously, no, I'm messing with you. Obviously, obviously we're gearing up for the Big 12. Some of the predictions that they do have for the football for the Big 12 conference. A lot of people do have Kansas State as being the favorites to win this conference. Just with what they have, they probably have the best running back duo in the backfield coming back um, in this series. Obviously, you have Arizona State with Sam Levet. He's probably one of the better quarterbacks in this league. Then obviously you have obviously all the eyes are going to be on Colorado with Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter leaving. Obviously, you got the young man and Caden Salter. Obviously, I don't know who's going to be the true starter, but some people have hinted at him being the future starter of the Colorado State. Iowa State, obviously, they lost a lot of offensive firepower with that team, with the talent that they had last year. So it should be interesting. But overall, man, with the Big 12 conference, is can any one of these teams compete to actually for the college football playoff? You know what I'm saying? And whoever comes out of that, will they have a legit chance? Could you see any team? If I were to pick any team, I'll probably say my favorite might be Arizona State, just because I like the quarterback. Obviously, we got to see, they got to replace Cam Scatterboo, the talent level and what they can bring out there. I'm always happy for Colorado. Hopefully with Dion, I'm going to be very, very curious to see the kind of talent. I think they've upgraded a lot. Obviously, their offensive line should be better. You have, a couple quarterbacks that could play. I forgot what was the other guy that they got? The guy from Boston College, right? They got the other gentleman from Boston College.
Kadar, what's his name? Kadar?
Yeah, I forgot his name. But I think they did get him. Obviously, they did lose Horn and some other guys, but I think the offensive line should be better. I think the running game should be better. Obviously, the defense I think will be a little bit better. But overall, man, what are your kind of outlooks on the Big 12, and who do you have your eyes on as far as like who do you think could come out and win that conference?
Uh, I'm definitely looking at K State with Avery Johnson. We'll see how that team looks without DJ Giddens.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone. He got drafted, so we'll see how they look. I'm with you with Arizona State. Replacing Cam Scatterboo is gonna be, what they could do, but they do have the other running back that's on that team, the black dude. He's really good.
Yeah.
So, and their quarterback is really good. I know they got that one wide receiver that's on that squad. He was hurt in the playoffs, and he's coming back. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think Arizona State has a chance to make a push. Um, BYU is always interesting. We'll see how that looks.
A lot of roster
Uh,
turnover on that team.
who?
A lot of roster turnover on the BYU team.
Yeah, yeah, and the quarterback's actually having some issues off the field, so we'll see how they go. Texas Tech is an interesting team.
Mm-hmm.
They made some noise last year, so we'll see how they look this year. I like their quarterback, so we'll see. Case Kansas. I know my man Jalen Daniels. He keeps coming back. So
Hey,
and everybody
like
was supposed
7 years or some shit. Like,
something like that. He had a lot of injury problems, but
mm-hmm.
we'll see if they can be the team that everybody thought they was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Kansas, they've drafted. Well, now they're gonna be without what's the running back name? I forgot the name of the running back, but he's gone. He's not on the team no more, so they got to replace that. But we'll see if Jalen Daniels can finally prove to be. He looked like that towards the end of the season, but in the beginning of the season, he was a little shaky. So,
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State, who had a good season last year, they're gonna have to replace those two wide receivers, and we got to see how that looks. They still got the quarterback, but they got to see what they can do with that without those wide receivers. And like you said, Colorado, man, can Dion coach his team up without his son? What does his team look like without Shador? What does the team look like without Travis Hunter?
Mm-hmm.
Um, which quarterback is going to take this team to be take this thing by the horn and lead this team? Is it going to be Julian Lewis or is it going to be Kadar? You know what I'm saying? Kadar, he had an up and down year with Boston College, suffered through some injuries too. So we'll see how he looks. And then Jalen Lewis, he left USC to come over to Colorado. I don't think he came over here just to sit on the bench.
Mhm.
So we'll see who wins that competition. Obviously, I still think they have some talent in their wide receiver room. They got to improve this running game. They have to improve this running game. The running game was pretty much non-existent last year, and see if there's some improvement on this offensive line. And then on the defensive side, without Travis Hunter, who's going to step up on that side of the ball. So, right now it's kind of a wait and see. But I think K-State should be the favorite in this division.
Yeah. And we also got to see Utah. Utah has always been a formidable opponent. Obviously under Kyle Whittingham. Obviously, I think they got a transfer. His name is Devin Damper. So we got to see how that goes. But usually Utah is always known for their defense and grittiness and just opportunistic, especially on that defensive side. Like, can Kyle Whittingham get that program back? Obviously, they had a little dud year last year due to some injuries and all that. But that's a very formidable team. The Utah. Remember a couple years ago, they went into my Florida Gators and beat us down. So, that's going to be a very formidable team. And then, obviously, the return of Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia. That's going to be very, very interesting. Can he bring back that lust that he brought, back when he originally was there? I think that would be something interesting. I think there's a lot of storylines in the Big 12 that could be definitely interesting. I'm very excited to see how it all plays out. As far as with Kent State. Texas Tech as well. Texas Tech has always been a very, very explosive team. I think that's another team you got to look out for. But we all know all eyes are always going to be on Deion as long as he's within this conference. And you know what? I know a lot of people have doubted his coaching skills. So I think this is probably the, going to be the really first time to see what it's like, without Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. You know what I mean? I think Coach Sanders is going to do amazing. But obviously, there's always going to be those doubters. And I know he's been going through a couple of health problems. So we hopefully, he's in good health and heading into the season and in good spirits. So we definitely want to send our prayers out to Coach Prime. And hopefully he's doing well. I saw a couple of reports of that, I think like a couple of weeks ago of him being out of, out due to illness and stuff like that. So, but overall, I do expect him to be healthy, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the Big 12. A lot of storylines, and could be potentially some surprises coming from this conference.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely going to be interesting to see who, because the Big 12, they don't really get looked at like all the other two conferences,
especially with Oklahoma and Texas leaving and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they kind of look at them as a weak schedule, and that's how Iowa State got looked at. So we'll see who can be who could take this conference by the horn and how competitive this conference can be to help booster some of their stock when it comes to the ranking.
Sure. And sorry, Oklahoma State fans, I just got no belief in Mike Gundy, bro. We all know what it's going to be every year, bro. You're going to start off strong, but by the end of the year, y'all have four losses in a row that come out of nowhere to teams that y'all should have never lost to. It just is what it is, man. I have nothing to say about Oklahoma State.
Yeah, they're always a mid team.
They a lot of hype. They get.
Yeah. All right, man. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we will be back.
Yep.
Introduce yourself to Magnet, the ultimate sports drink. Are you ready to take your performance to the next level? Do you want a sports drink that eliminates the muscle cramps and fatigue when working out or training? Meet Magnet, the sports drink designed for athletes who refuse to settle for mediocrity. It's power-packed electrolytes and rehydrates and restores balance with their scientifically formulated blend with magnesium that fights fatigue and boosts endurance. It has natural ingredients made with real fruit extracts and no artificial colors or flavors because your body deserves the best. It has delicious flavors like mixed fruit and watermelon that keep you revitalized and ready for action. It will boost your performance with essential vitamins and minerals. Magnet fuels your workouts, helping you crush your goals. Join the Magnet movement whether you're training, competing, or simply staying active. Magnet is your go-to refreshment for peak performance. You can order it now on our direct link at drinkmagnet.com. Also, use promo code Cris Mal to get $5 off your purchase. So don't wait. Again, that promo code is Cris Mal to get $5 off your purchase. Get Magnet, push your limits, fuel your passion.
And we are back. All right, man. So there's this podcast clips I've been seeing on TikTok. This dude named D-Rack. He has a podcast, and he has some it's like young guys and some older guys on there, and they be having topics, and there's always this young cat on there. I think he's like in his early 20s or whatever, and he always makes outlandish proclamations. I know I just saw one recently. He was talking about he don't think Outkast is a top 3 dual group in hip hop, and he was naming a bunch of people who weren't groups at all, just people who did collab albums over them, which was crazy in itself. I forgot the other one where he was talking about, but recently he just made a statement that he said he thinks Chris Brown is better in everything over MJ. So I'm gonna play this clip for you, and then I want to get your thoughts.
Michael Jackson not better than Chris Brown. I'll stand on this right now. Michael Jackson's not better than Chris Brown. Michael Jackson's not better than Chris Brown.
What school you go to?
Chris Brown does everything better than Michael Jackson.
It wouldn't even be no Chris without Jack.
That don't matter.
This got diamond records with no streaming.
The selling records mean you're better than somebody.
That plays a part. It's not.
Chris Brown has diamond. Chris Brown has platinum.
Chris Brown has hot songs. He's relevant songs, but he's not timeless ballads. 50 years from now, you're not going to play Chris Brown at a graduation.
Because he's not dead yet.
We might be.
So let's take like Human Nature, right? Well, let's say like Black or White.
Right.
Chris Brown doesn't produce songs like that. He produces feel good, in the moment, and radio hit songs.
Okay, can I say something? Chris Brown has gotten blackballed. That's one.
Yes.
So if he wasn't blackballed, he would be the biggest ever. Chris Brown sings better than Michael Jackson.
Careful.
He dances better than Michael Jackson.
Sing better than who?
He sings, dances,
You do
raps,
know-
No,
acts,
he don't,
does everything better than Michael Jackson.
Acts.
You cannot tell me that
False
Thriller
people.
dance moves is anything compared to Chris Brown, what he's done.
What are your thoughts on that, sir?
Kind of agree, man. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I kind of agree. Look. Listen to me. Hear this. Look, we all know how impactful Michael Jackson was. We saw the stardom. We saw people fame. We saw streets being taken over by Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is all-time great, one of the all-time greats. But if we're gonna do as far as singing, I think those two. I think it's comparable. You know what I mean? I think Chris Brown's a hell of a great singer. So was Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was a great. His voice was amazing. But so I do think Chris Brown could sing. I think he could blow as well. You know what I'm saying? As far as dance moves, I think Chris Brown smokes Michael Jackson. I'm sorry. Like, I get the moonwalk and I know the symbolics of that and all that type of shit, but it's nothing compared to what Chris Brown does. I totally agree with you on there. Chris Brown is doing great things. You know, he's selling out arena tours. He had that big ass concert in Africa. I do agree that he is blackballed. As far as like impact, as far as like longevity and stuff like that, I disagree with anybody that says Chris Brown is not going to be played 50 years from now. I totally disagree. We all know that you become more famous when you're dead. You become more appreciated when you're dead because people look at your catalog and understand what you're about. And I understand that whole situation where Rihanna kind of set him back. Like if Chris Brown had a clean record, I think Chris Brown would be. He would definitely be the next Michael Jackson for sure. He was headed on that pathway, but I hate having these conversations. I know I kind of agree with certain aspects of just like, you know, maybe just talent wise, like dancing, I'm giving it to Chris Brown. Singing, you can go either way. I'm not going to be mad if you want to say Mike's better or Chris Brown's better. I'm not going to be mad or anything like that. As far as like catalog, Chris Brown has a deep catalog. Michael Jackson has a deep catalog. I know there's people in today's time that appreciate Chris Brown way more than they appreciate Michael Jackson because they weren't around that time. They don't understand the impact. They don't understand when the moment this man hit the streets, people were fainting, like, you know, all that type of shit. You and me, like, we both understand it. Like, I was still young, but at the same time, I understood the impact. We all knew and we all felt the impact of when he passed away and stuff like that. We saw like what it was like. To me, was like, that was the moment I was like, why are people crying? Because I understood Michael Jackson's impact, and I knew how great he was as far as like just as an artist, as a musician, as just an aura of a person. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I was like, damn, like people are really, really emotional about Michael Jackson crying. I wasn't that type because it wasn't like I was around during, the Jackson 5 days or, Thriller days. I wasn't born. I was born in 87. I was around like during sometimes, but even then I was a little kid. But to the impact of like when Kobe passed, and I was like, damn, I'm a grown ass man crying on the couch of a man I don't even know. It kind of put me in perspective of just how the impact of what Michael Jackson meant to a lot of people. Now, will Chris Brown mean that to a certain group of people? If he were to pass, hopefully that never comes about. But hypothetically, yeah, I'm sure it'll be the same way. I think Chris Brown has a major impact in the young community, and you see how he's revered. You know what I'm saying? Like women love Chris Brown. So I understand the conversation. I also hate this conversation because it always feels like you're devaluing one for the other. And I think they're both greatness. I think they're both one of the greatest musicians that have ever been able to grace a mic. I think these are one of the greatest dancers and performers. If you haven't been to a Chris Brown concert, like he puts on a great show. And I was never blessed to get the opportunity to see Mike live. I'm sure that was an experience in his own. And then obviously just the quality of the music videos and all that type of stuff. Like he has hits, man. It just sucks because now we're just putting in a category where it feels like we got to diminish one for the other. And I don't like that. I think we can appreciate both and the greatness that they both have.
I've told you last week when I said I feel like Chris Brown is the best, he's the best of his era, you know what I'm saying? And I always show love and respect. And I also said that, by the time Chris Brown came around, I was a little older. So it doesn't hit me like it may hit you or somebody younger than you.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Where I was around when Mike was at his height in his solo career. I wasn't around for the Jackson 5. No, I wasn't. That was my parents and all them era. That was your parents around their era. Mm-hmm. But I was around when, Thriller was big. You know what I'm saying? I remember Beat It. I remember Billie Jean and Black and White and all that. When them music videos hit, the world stopped for Michael Jackson. Like families were sitting around the TV waiting for those music videos to come on. It was an event when Michael Jackson was dropping something, even with his albums. Like his album run. People don't talk about his album run from Off the Wall to Thriller to Dangerous to Bad. I mean, and Dangerous, and man, he had a hell of a run. You know what I'm saying? And then some of the songs and stuff that he laid vocals to and all that stuff. And as far as the dancing go, I hate to compare dancing moves because it was by the time Chris Brown came on, like dancing evolved. Like
it's the same as music. Music has evolved too, and how you consume music as well. It's totally different. You know what I mean?
So of course, like
it's hard to have these conversations.
So of course you can say, "Oh, my Chris Brown is a better dancer because he's doing a lot more." Like they added to the moonwalk. Like the moonwalk isn't like a thing anymore. Like everybody can moonwalk nowadays. You see it on TikTok. Some kid he's moonwalking forward. He's doing all kinds.
Moonwalking on their hands at this point.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like the moonwalk it's almost like a DDT nowadays. Like back in the day, a DDT was a devastating move. It's like a transitional move now. Like everybody doing a DDT. Everybody's super kicking right now. Like, but when Mike did it, it was something new. Nobody's seen it before. So it's hard to compare somebody who's the first one to do it in the public eye compared to the guy who he's already got the template. He just add to it. You know what I'm saying? Like we're way past the moonwalk now. Like we're doing backflips and on our back and landing on our backs and doing spins on our head and shit. So I don't like to compare the dance because it's like it's evolved. It's like motherfuckers. I'm sure motherfuckers were saying, "Oh, Michael Jackson way better dancing than James Brown." Like, of course, like all James Brown doing was sliding.
Right.
But back then, that was the shit.
That was the shit. You know what I mean? Like when you look at it in hindsight, there's a lot of things that when you look at it now, Chris Brown may do a lot better than. But again, like Mike was the pioneer. He was kind of like the originator, James Brown, all those guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? There was always pioneers to the game. And the reality of the situation is as time goes by, these artists will get less appreciated and they have to just get rediscovered. Like Michael Jackson's going to have to get rediscovered because let's be honest, like people of his time and era, they're slowly dying off, man. It's just the reality of this situation. It's going to happen to Chris Brown too. Like, yeah, Chris Brown is in the youth phase of what he's going on. He's at probably the tail end. I wouldn't say the tail end of his youth phase, but he is getting older just like the rest of us. Like he's my age group in a sense, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's going to come a situation where, you know what I mean, we're going to be the old heads like, oh, y'all don't know about Chris Brown. And then some new act, people gonna think like, oh no, he better than Chris Brown, he better than Michael Jackson, he better than this, he better than that, he better than R. Kelly, he better than, you know what I mean? It will always, the conversation will always be evolved. And it happens in sports all the time. We see it with, you know what I mean, with Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. We see it with Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, John Elway, Steve Young, Troy Aikman. We see it with all these conversations, Mike Tyson, George, Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo, Terrence Crawford. We see it. Like there will always be the evolution. And I think that's pretty much why, you know, people love to have these conversations. To me, I think it's fun conversations to have to the point where you don't have to disrespect, you know, the greatness of somebody else. Like, yeah, you're going to back your guy. Like, yes, Chris, you are more fond of Michael Jackson because he was more present in your life. Just like Chris Brown was more present in mine. Like, I appreciate Michael Jackson. I understand the importance of Michael Jackson, but I vibe with Chris Brown songs a lot. I love Chris Brown. He always, to me, is like one of his best songs, and that impacted me a lot. That's what I grew up on, just like what you grew on with Michael Jackson in a sense. So, and there's no wrong answer. There really is no wrong answer. It's all opinionated at the day. So, and I get it. You know, there's always going to be passion behind that shit and, you know, and all that. And it may sound like disrespect, but in reality, it's not disrespect. We all know the greatness of Michael Jackson and what he meant. We all know the greatness of what Chris Brown or Usher and all these guys have meant to the impact. You know, I think Usher, you know, I even said I think Chris Brown has a better discography than Usher. But, you know, people are going to argue me down to death like, no, Usher is. And, you know what I mean? It's like we're disrespecting Usher because Usher should honestly also be in this conversation as well. Usher is one of the all-time greats as well. We just understand it. We got to just learn how to appreciate everybody. But I think it's fun to have these conversations. I don't think it hurts anything. Like, I know some people find it as disrespectful, but it can get disrespectful. But
I just think as far as the young man was talking, you know, he was just so absolute in it, and it's just like.
But that's his opinion, and
it is his opinion, and he's entitled to his opinion.
Yeah,
but it's just like.
But to like you, it sounds disrespectful to Mike. Like to Ebro or anybody else, or like a Joe Budden, they might find that to be disrespectful. You know what I mean? Even though maybe in certain people's music eyes, they might look at it and like, you know, he may have a point. Like it has to be like somebody like that came from that era that was around Michael Jackson that'd be like, yo, I think Chris Brown, you know, I think he had it. You know what I mean? And then maybe people might have a different outlook on that situation because at the same time, a lot of people gonna be like, you weren't in the music industry, you don't have the ear for the music. How would you know? How would you say? That's like somebody, you know, telling us like, how would you know who's the greatest basketball player or the greatest football player and all that type of sense? You didn't play the game like we did. You didn't play high level. You don't know the nuances of what you had to do to perform at a high level and to win championships. You don't know that feeling. So how can you have that conversation? Because you know what, brother? You know why? I have eyes. I have a common sense. I have an understanding on what the game is. I have an understanding with music. I know what great music sounds like. You know what I mean? I think we all do. I know it's all subject. I know it's all very subjective. You know, just like art. Art is very subjective. But you know a good song when you hear it. I don't care what genre it's from, whether it's country music to, like, you know, it's a bop. In that form, it's a bop. You know what I mean? To heavy metal, to all that type of shit. Like, you just know. It just is what it is.
Yeah, man. Like I said, shout out to the young man. Now, he was dead wrong on the Outkast conversation that he was talking.
Yeah,
about.
I don't know what he was talking about with that. I didn't hear that whole conversation, but
he pretty much said that he said Kanye and Jay-Z was better than Outkast. He was naming collaborations, and they were arguing like they're not even duos. They're like,
we'll see. That right there just shows the ignorance in his thought process. Like, you know what I mean? Because like something like that is just like disrespectful. Because like Kanye and Jay-Z never really like, yeah, they had one album that was, you know, you say you didn't enjoy it as much as I did. I enjoyed it a lot. You know what I mean? It was one of the better concerts I've ever been to.
On there I like.
But I'm not comparing Jay-Z and Kanye on one album to what Outkast did for their whole entire career. like if you want to, we can have a conversation about the clips, and depending on how this album is going to look, I think the clips can be put in this conversation. You have NWA, you have like other cats, like that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Youth is always gonna say some dumb shit. But.
Then what he say? He said, and if you're talking about Outkast, you're talking about Andre 3000. It's like, man, don't disrespect Big Boy like that.
You know what? But Andre 3000 is doing that shit to himself to a degree, because he's out here playing flutes and guitars and pianos that no one really asked for. And it's like, do what you want to do, brother. But at the same time, it's like when Michael Jordan went to the Wizards, like, it just left a little bad taste in your mouth. You knew who Mike was.
He was saying like, if we're picking Outkast, it's because of Andre 3000, not because of Big Boy.
Well, we all know that's not true. We all know that's not true.
And I think that people like don't
like that.
Big Boy is nice too, bro. Like, we ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, like situations like that. Like, this is why in situations like this, we need to learn how to ignore bullshit. Like, this is like, we just don't need to acknowledge his ignorant conversations. Like, if you want to have a real healthy conversation, that's cool. I'm with that shit. But shit like that, man, it's kind of like, bro. Like, what are we talking about, bro? Like, you can't disrespect Big Boy. Big Boy was an integral part. Like, there's no Andre 3000 without Big Boy. There's no Big Boy. What are we talking about, bro? Big Boy was nice.
He was. He still is. All right, man. Let's do our BetUS Short Fire picks, man. All right, what you got, man?
All right, man. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is about to be, I don't know. We gotta figure out this better shit, because ain't a lot of shit going on. I know this might be the last NBA game and all that type of shit.
Baseball, dog.
We got baseball and soccer, man. That's pretty much what we have right now until
WNBA.
football. WNBA. We got a couple fights and stuff coming up too, so we'll make it work. We'll make it work. But I got the Dodgers -1.5 with the Padres. I got that. I got the Athletics money line over the Astros. I'm gonna take the little action right there. And then I got Team USA -1 over Saudi Arabia tomorrow night in the Gold Cup.
I just got the one. Go and take your $100 that you put in your first deposit. Take the Thunder 6.5 and over. 220.
I didn't even touch it because I still got to see if Tyrese gonna play.
That's true. All right, man. If you look at the screen, you'll see the QR code for the BetUS website. Scan it. It'll take you there. This is only for first-time users only. Sign up. Put the promo code JOIN125. You get 125% sign-in bonus plus 10% gambler's insurance, because they got other things on the website. That is 3 risk-free bets on your first 3 deposits on $100 up to $5,000. So on your first 3 deposits, if you bet $100 and you lose, you keep your money because it's risk-free. So you can keep your money or you can win some money. So go ahead and scan that QR code. Go to BetUS, sign up, tell them Cris Mal sent you. And that does it for our BetUS Short Fire picks. Now it's time for Mal's favorite segment, Random News. It is now time for Mal's Random News.
Yes. My favorite part of the week, Chris's favorite part of the week. We got a couple newsline stories here. Are you ready, sir?
Let's go.
All right, man. So in news, it seems like ESPN are in early talks to have PBC on their network. We know Top Rank is officially going to be gone after this summer. What are your thoughts about this? Who would you rather them prefer? Would you prefer Top Rank or would you prefer PBC?
I mean, I'll just take whatever boxing promotion can get a striker deal with ESPN, because I just want to see the good fights. That's it. So if we're getting PBC over at ESPN, that means you're going to get more Tank. ESPN, you're going to get, I think T.O.'s over there. I think Boots is over there. So most of the 154 rankings you're going to get over there. So
yeah.
Why not?
I wish they could just do both. Just do both, man. I wish they could. Right. I wish they could, but maybe Top Rank might get a Netflix deal or something. I don't know. We'll see what's up. But hopefully they can get that deal done. Next up, Sony has officially confirmed that the PlayStation 6 is currently in development. As quoted, it is at the top of their mind right now. Reports claim that the PS6 is targeted for 2027. What's your level of excitement for the PS6? And what are some of the things that you hope that we get out of this new console era?
I don't even know, man. My excitement level, I mean, I'm always going to be high for, to see what the new console look like. I don't know, because I've seen a lot of people complain about PS5. I didn't know there's this much discourse about the PS5.
What's the discourse on the PS5 that you've heard?
That people complain that because you could buy the PS4 version and the PS5 version, and it's pretty much the same damn game. And I think the PS5 version is more expensive, but it's the same damn game, which I get it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like, that's really the only. I've heard other complaints, but that's the main one I've heard. But I didn't know it was as much Discord. Like a lot of people say PS5 dropped the ball. So
I think the PS5 was fun. I think the main conversation needs to be like, I get it. You need to have a certain time frame where you want to allow consumers to buy a new generational console system. Like I get it in initial phases. Number one, they're hard to get, especially in that first phase of releasing the consoles. I think around the PS5 it was during COVID, I think, when they started release, so it was already hard enough, and then they already had shortages as it is. I don't expect us to have those problems with the PS6, so it was really hard to actually get it. And then on top of that, I think that's what caused the delay of them eventually trying to phase out the PS4, because there are a lot of games like Madden, 2K, a lot of the sports games and some other games that still feature the PS4, which I think kind of limited on the advancement in a lot of these games, because they still had to make a game that was capable of still being able to be played on the PS4, even though the PS5 is, I think, a way powerful system than what the PS4 was giving us. I think it's just that I think with this new era with PS6, I think it'll be an easier transition. Obviously, we got to be very mindful on the pricing of this console. We expect this to be high, especially with certain. I don't know what the whole situation with the tariffs situation is. I'm not even going to think about that right now. But we got to figure out that whole situation and the pricing on the PS6. You got some people thinking it's going to be $1,000 and stuff like that, and I get it. That would be tough for people to pay for, but at the end of the day, I think it'll be an easier transition. So when we do get into the PS6, I think it'll be easier for them to phase out PS5 and just have initial PS5 games and then PS6 games, and then I think they'll be a lot better. I think we'll get a better experience. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, next up, OpenAI has won a $200 million contract with the U.S. to provide the Department of Defense with artificial intelligence tools. A lot of people have been, throwing up the Terminator sign and all that shit, putting up fear that, Skynet is finally going to get developed and all that shit. What are your thoughts with OpenAI winning this $200 million contract with the U.S. Department?
I've been saying it, man. Skynet is coming, man.
Yeah.
Siri and Alexa are going to team up. See, I just said Siri. She woke up. See, scared me already, man. I'm sorry, but yeah, they coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hopefully they don't build no system that kind of tells them what to do as far as like who they need to go to war with and all that type of shit. We don't need that. You know what I mean? We saw that with if you haven't seen the Terminator anime on Netflix, watch that shit. You know what I mean?
Just watch the Terminator. Shit, that's what Skynet did. They bombed everybody because they
but I think the
human life was inferior.
No, that's true. But I think the Terminator animated version, I think it really gets into that storyline, like the development of Skynet in a sense. Yeah. I thought great. Can't wait for season 2. Next up, Kevin Feige has confirmed that Fantastic Four will lead directly into the Avengers Doomsday. I know Fantastic Four, I think it comes out next month. I think it'll come out right after Superman, right? What's your level of expectation with Fantastic Four, and what's your overall expectations with the Avengers new storyline with Doomsday?
I don't know, man. I think it's at a 6 right now.
As far as excitement level.
Yeah, I like some of the stuff I've seen from the Fantastic Four. I'm interested to see how they do Galactus. You know what I'm saying? You see, he's going to be the main villain in here. Everybody was tripping about Silver Surfer being a girl. I don't care about that. But yeah, I'm interested to see Galactus. Pedro Pascal's one of the best actors in this time and era, so I can see he's going to kill it as Richard Reed. You know, he probably wouldn't have been my first choice because I would want somebody else to probably play Richard Reed, but I think he'll still do a good job, and I think the cast will do a good job from some of the trailer I've seen. You know, I think they'll do a good. I think they'll be cool. You know, they've been trying to get this Fantastic Four shit right for a long time, and they just failed every time. But I think it's just more so just, you know, the characters. You got to get Doomsday right, because I still don't think Robert Downey Jr. is the Doomsday.
Oh yeah, you think somebody else is playing that?
I think this is the alternate version Doomsday, and I think the real Doomsday will be revealed. I think he'll be revealed probably in the Avengers movie.
Okay. Yeah, shit. Look. It's only up for Fantastic Four. It can't get much worse. But we've been wrong before. All right. Next up, a new study claims that nurses and female doctors are statistically the most likely to cheat among all professions. Do you agree with this? And if you don't agree, what profession do you think should be ahead of this for potentially being the most cheaters in that profession?
I mean, I'm not surprised if this is top. You know, they deal with a lot of people. They're dealing with doctors, rich doctors, and other nurses and other people in that field. And, you know, I can see them, you know, they got late nights. Yeah. They're working 11, 12-hour shifts. So, right. You know, they're probably barely around the person that their significant other. Mm-hmm. And then depending on what their significant other does, you know, time is as essence. So I can see them being like, I'm a little lonely. You know, yeah. Rick is looking kind of good, bro. Now, if I could pick one, cocktail waitress.
Cocktail waitress. Yeah, I could agree to that. Yeah, for sure. Look, I'll say this. If you have a nurse or a doctor as a wife or girlfriend,
God bless you.
No, I mean, just
trust the process.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what hey, feel bad for you, bro. Feel bad for you. All right, next up, man. It seems like there's been a healthy debate on the Twitter sphere that people are currently having, and the debate is who had the best first 5 album run between T.I. and Jeezy. Who do you think had the best 5 album run between those two gentlemen?
Okay, so I'm Serious is not better than TM 101. TM 101 is a classic. Trap Music is a dope album, but TM 102, I think TM 102 gets slept on. I think the album is fire. So I got that over Trap Music. Now, Urban Legend, I got that over The Recession. I think Urban Legend is a classic. Then you have TM 103, which was fire. I got that over T.I. versus T.I.P. I think that was the next album. And then what was Jeezy next album? Church in the Streets. Was that the next album for Jeezy? Church in the Streets? I think it was. I actually like that album. It's difficult.
Is that better than King?
No. King was his. That was a fire album. So I got King. I think it's negative. I think it's kind of tied.
I wouldn't be mad. Like, yeah.
I think it's kind of tied. You know what I'm saying? Because I think it's kind of tied. I might slightly edge Jeezy.
Okay, for sure. I ain't mad at that. Next up, obviously, you know, we have all saw Pusha T and Malice, the Clips, released a new song called "So Be It." There have been some conversations about a particular line that Pusha T said, and a lot of people believe that is a diss to Travis Scott. I think he even confirmed it. So Bun B, he was on Shannon Sharp's show, and he kind of quoted say that Travis ain't about to back down. He's from Houston. I won't be surprised if you hear something before the weekend. He absolutely is not going to allow his public perception to be played like that. Number one, first question is what are your thoughts about the new song of the Clips, "So Be It"? And second question is what do you make of this whole Travis Scott and Pusha T beef, and who do you think could potentially win that outcome?
Okay. The song, I like the song. I actually like this better than Ace's Trumpet. I like the stuff, even outside of the stuff, the Travis Scott stuff. I thought Pusha T person was dope, but Malice was talking that trash on there, boy. I think he was spitting that spit on here, boy. As far as the Travis Scott, like, we know damn well Travis Scott can't rap with no damn Pusha T. Like, what are you gonna do? You gonna pull out the auto tune?
That's crazy.
Oh man, I don't want to hear no diss records from Travis. Now, as far as the situation goes, I can get why Pusha T is feeling some type of way. Because if I see you, if I see you, and I'm like, hey man, I got a song I want you to hear, and I let you hear the song, but then you hear the finished product, and the other person on the song is dissing you. And I'm supposed to be your dog, and I allowed this, I cleared this. Yeah, I can see why you feel some type of way.
What do you make of certain people have been saying that that Drake didn't send his verse until the day before the song release, and that I think when he first originally heard the song was in 2023 or 2024 or something like that. They said that shouldn't be the reason why he should diss Travis. Like, what would you say to them?
But that still makes it worse because you still heard it.
Yeah.
You still heard the verse.
Yeah.
So you still had to clear it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if somebody, I don't care who it is, if somebody sends you a verse, you're going to listen to it. And you're going to be like, hey, dog, who you dissing on here?
Right.
For real? Oh, no, I can't have you do that. Play that on my shit. Do that on your shit, man. Not on my shit.
Right.
That's my dog.
Hey man, I'll say this. I love the "So Be It" song. I think it's honestly 3 for 3. Especially if you heard the snippet of the Kendrick song when they were doing the walkway with I forgot what is that? What are they doing? Christian Dior, whatever it was. But I love it. I can't wait. I think the anticipation for this album is high for me. Something I haven't felt in a very long time with an album. I'm truly can't wait for that, and I can't wait for that concert when it comes.
Push. I need you to get back on, because Jim Jones out here talking reckless, man. I'm tired of Jim Jones. He over here talking like he the greatest rapper.
I don't think Pusha T's really sweating Jim Jones. I really don't.
You got smacked.
I don't know. We'll see. Like, you never know. Like, there could be something on this album. There could be something on this album talking about Jim Jones. I would not be surprised. I don't know. I don't think he's really pressed about Jim Jones. I know a lot of people, when they kind of went through their little back and forth, some people had Jim Jones winning that just because, I think he was the last person to put anything out. But again, that goes back to the conversation about, when we talked about Nas, taking his time with Jay-Z, and the conversations with Drake and Kendrick. So at the end of the day, man, I'm very curious to see if he does respond. Next up, Sony has confirmed that Solo Leveling. I know you're an anime guy. They confirmed that Solo Leveling is the most watched anime in the history of Crunchyroll. I don't know if you're a fan of Solo Leveling, but are you surprised by this? And
it's a good.
What would you expect it to be as far as like the most watched?
I mean, it's a good anime. I haven't got past season 1, so I'm kind of behind. But it's a good anime. But as far as it being the most, now season 2 might just be crap. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know. I just think, with Demon Slayer and Chainsaw Man and Windbreakers. I mean, this is so much pride, but they just brought back Fire Force. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it must be, hey, the people like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't take my, my quotes for this because I still ain't jumped on the Attack on Titans train. You know what I'm saying? And they love Attack on Titans.
Yep.
One Piece, it is way too many motherfucking episodes for me to sit back and watch that. About 1,000
How many
episodes.
do they have? They got
it's like 1,000 episodes of One Piece.
Oh, yeah, they tripping. That's a hard catch up, bro. That's a hard catch up, bro. You gotta go through a whole COVID situation for me to watch some shit like that. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, man. I got a couple more. Next up, ESPN has released its all-century team offense. I want to hear your thoughts. So they have QB, they have Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes. Okay. At fullback, they have Kyle Juszczyk. At running back, they have Priest Holmes, Christian McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry. Wide receiver, they have Randy Moss, Julio Jones, Marvin Harrison. At the other side of wide receiver, they have Calvin Johnson, Terrell Owens, Justin Jefferson. At tight end, they have Rob Gronkowski, Travis Kelce, and Tony Gonzalez. Left tackle, they have Joe Thomas and Trent Williams. Left guard, they have Alan Faneca and Stephen Hutchinson. At center, they have Jason Kelce. Right guard, they have Zach Martin, Marshall Yonda. At right tackle, they have Lane Johnson and Willie Anderson. Head coach, they have Bill Belichick. OC, they have Kyle Shanahan. DC, they have Wade Phillips. And then special teams coach, they have Dave Taub. What are your thoughts about this all-quarter century team?
Priest Holmes, and I love Priest Holmes. Look, I love Priest. But Priest Holmes, name that running back room again.
So running back, they have Priest Holmes, Christian McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry. Where's LaDainian Tomlinson at?
Exactly. Where's Adrian Peterson?
Where's Adrian Peterson, bro? You know what I mean? Like low key, like it low key should be LT, Adrian Peterson, and then a pick between Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry. I would probably say you would probably pick. I don't know who you would pick between Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey. Maybe Derrick Henry, yeah,
because of the injuries. Just because of the injuries.
Yeah,
because he was even hurt at Carolina.
yeah.
Yeah, I look. I have an affinity for Priest Holmes. When Priest Holmes was on, he was up there matching with LT. His touchdown, they was going 20, 30 touchdowns a season, 2,000 yards, all that shit. But Priest Holmes, I got Jamar Charles over Priest Holmes.
Yeah, I was about to say, wasn't Jamar Charles way better than Priest Holmes? No disrespect.
He has the record.
Who would you choose, Priest Holmes or Larry Johnson?
Larry was nice, but I picked Priest. I took Priest over Larry. But Larry's nice, but I take Priest.
So what would you rate? What would you rate the list? What would you rate it?
It's a good list. It's that running back room had me like, huh? Who made
receivers I can't be mad at. Like
I'm not mad at receivers.
Randy Moss, Julio Jones, Marvin Harrison, Calvin, Terrell, Justin Jefferson, I'm not mad at. I think you could have a healthy conversation if you want to put any of these younger guys in. I'm surprised Devontae Adams wasn't picked. That's
what I was thinking.
Who he was. Like I think it should be Devontae Adams. I think the Raiders situation left some bad taste in the mouth, and I think the Jets situation did too. But then I think it should be Devontae Adams. But if you're gonna pick real talk. Like
and Randy Moss. Yeah.
I think it should be. I like Justin Jefferson. Yeah, it has to be Devontae Adams. It has to be. It has to be. No disrespect to Justin Jefferson or.
I'm not mad at him being up
because they'll be the next version.
Because I think they was trying to get somebody in this era, even though Devontae still. But I think they was trying to get somebody like that's at the top of their game now. They're still young.
Yeah, but Devontae's still putting up good numbers. He
is, but he's the older. He
is older, but let's be honest. Like he had terrible QB play with the Raiders.
He did.
Aaron Rodgers and that whole situation, he got traded midway through the season, and then low key at the end, like they started actually finding rhythm. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's kind of tough. Like, look, I know Devontae Adams left a bad taste in my mouth as a Raider fan, but I'm not going to sit here and disrespect who he was, but
No, I'm not mad. I do think there should be a conversation between that. Like, I do think that Devontae, for a consensus, he was the best receiver for at least 4 or 5 seasons.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Quarterback, I'm not mad at. Of course, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes. I'm not mad at that. They don't have, because I think I saw the list that they had the defensive side too.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if we can find the defensive side.
Because I was listening to a radio show and they was reading off.
Let me see. Let's see. Tackles. All right, here we go. So edge rushers, they have DeMarcus Ware, Jared Allen, Myles Garrett, Julius Peppers. Defensive tackles, they have Aaron Donald, Calais Campbell, Chris Jones. Nose tackle, they have Vince Wilfork. Versatile defensive linemen, they have J.J. Watt. Linebackers, they have Ray Lewis, Bobby Wagner, Brian Urlacher, Levante David, and Luke Kuechly. Cornerbacks, they have Darrell Revis, Champ Bailey, Rondé Barber, Richard Sherman, Patrick Peterson. And safeties, they have Ed Reed, Tro Palomalu, Brian Dawkins, Earl Thomas III. And then kickers, they have Justin Tucker. Punters, they have Shane Leckler. Return specialists, they have Devin Hester. Special teamers, they have Matthew Slater. Long snappers, they have Morgan Cox. And then I read and then the coaches.
So. Defensive end, I guess I have no problem with. I mean, you could argue Michael Strahan.
You could.
And TJ Watt.
You could.
And JJ Watt.
I think he got special defensive something. I forgot.
Yeah, they had to make it. It was like almost.
They made up a position for him. They probably did the list and like, oh man, we got to add JJ. We can't have that out. Like, nigga, you're going to be a special blah blah blah. What they call
linebacker?
Versatile defensive lineman. That's what they call it.
Yeah, linebacker, because they have him at practice squad. I'm sorry, I'm putting Derrick Brooks over Levante Davis.
Yeah,
Derrick Brooks before Ray Lewis. It was about Derrick Brooks.
Yeah, Derrick Brooks was one of the best.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Levante, but no
yeah, he wasn't better than Derrick Brooks. Derrick Brooks was part of that championship defense, man. What are we talking about?
Yeah, he was
the leader.
Yeah, he was.
And then defensive tackle. Where's Warren Sapp?
I don't know. Who you taking out for Warren Sapp though? You taking out your boy?
No, we didn't take him out.
You taking out Aaron Donald?
Nah, we
You taking out Calais Camp?
Might be taking back Calais though. Nah, Calais was a beast. I can't take him back. I'm just saying, man, it's a conversation to be had.
Oh yeah, it's for sure. There's always a conversation.
Corners, I am taking out Ron. I love Rondé. I think Rondé is very underrated as a corner. And I don't know. I know Charles Woodson was a safety when he won the Super Bowl, but I think Charles Woodson was a better corner than Rondé Barber.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he definitely was.
So
what about Jalen Ramsey? He's on the practice squad.
You could make an argument for Jalen. He was one of the better ones for his generation.
Mm.
Can we have a conversation about Richard Sherman?
What's the conversation you want to have about Richard Sherman?
You think he's slightly overrated?
Depends on what overrated in what aspect, though. You know what I mean? I think he was an integral part in what made the Legion of Boom the Legion of Boom. You know what I mean? I think he did have a lot of big time safety help behind him for sure.
I mean, you had an enforcer in Cam Chancellor. People don't talk about Cam Chancellor. You had an ultimate enforcer in Cam Chancellor, dog.
Yeah, for sure. No, he did. He did.
Cam Chancellor had to stop playing because he was hitting people too hard.
Now that's true. That is true. That is true.
And then I know the shit ended bad with Earl Thomas. There was a point where at free safety, he was the best.
Yeah.
Like at the time, like in his prime, it was him and Eric Berry.
Mm-hmm.
As the best free safeties out there. Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, I feel you. I feel you. Look, I think it's a healthy conversation to have. It just depends on what you want to say he's overrated with.
I tell you, who you taking, Richard Sherman or Jalen Ramsey?
I'm taking Jalen Ramsey. I'm taking Jalen. I'm sorry. I think he's a better ball hawk, and I think what helped Richard Sherman was his size a lot. You know what I mean? He's 6'3". You know what I mean? I don't think he had the best hands in the world, but you know, he was physical. I think he was allowed to play physical. Mm-hmm. I think that defense. I think they all needed each other in a sense. You know what I mean? I think it was a perfect form of what made them so great. You know what I mean? I don't think one could have did it without the other. I think if you pull Richard Sherman out of that defense, I think that defense looks a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure. He was the best corner on that team because he had Brandon Browner and I forgot the other dude they had on when Browner was gone. But
yeah.
So I'm not trying to disrespect Richard Sherman. I'm just saying.
No, man.
Compared to like, you know, Jalen Ramsey, I don't know.
No, like I said, I think Jalen Ramsey I think he's an overall better talented cornerback, but I think it's a healthy conversation. I would say if you're good, I wouldn't mind if Jalen was in the starting lineup and then you put Richard on the practice squad. I wouldn't be mad at that. If you want to do the situation,
I can make an argument. I know we was talking trash about this dude when he was trying to compare himself to Deion, but I could still make an argument for this dude to be on the list of Asante Samuel. Zach.
Asante has the numbers. You know what I mean? He does.
I'm just saying.
He does. Like I think it's a healthy conversation to have. You know what I mean?
But the safety room is good. Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, Ryan Dawkins, Earl Thomas. Just to pay homage at practice squad, I'm putting Sean Taylor.
Look, I think if Sean Taylor doesn't pass away, I think he's one of the best. I think
he'd be the greatest.
I think he'd be the greatest
because
I think he was the LT. I think he was the LT of safeties.
He was Troy and Ed Reed put together.
Way more athletic. Like that's what I'm saying. I think he was LT. I think he was the LT of safeties. That's what I really do. I really do. I think he was the Lawrence Taylor of safeties.
Like that dude was a physical freak.
Yeah, he was. At Miami in college, you saw it when he went to Washington. You saw it like that's a fear, bro. That's a fear, bro. Like it's sad. It's sad that his life was cut short. You know what I mean? What could have been? You know what I mean? That's a sad story. All right, man. We got one more. I saved the best for last. Got man gameplay, brother. I want to get your reaction to the gameplay, my brother. You know, let's see what it's about, and I want to get your opinion.
What's up, everyone? Kurt Benkert here. A lot of you have been asking what's actually different in Madden NFL 26. Let me walk you through what I learned at the preview event in Orlando in today's gameplay deep dive. Trained on nearly a decade of real NFL data, a new AI-powered machine learning system informs all new coach tendencies, QB signatures, and advanced player traits. With more strategic depth and authentic detail, making every game a distinct and dynamic challenge true to NFL team identities. Let's take a closer look. The team is reimagining quarterback play with new QB DNA, adding new levels of detail, quality, and variety to the most iconic position in sports. Refreshed passing animations and a variety of all-new signature throwing styles for quarterbacks across the game make each one look, move, and feel more like themselves. Some more detailed signatures are unique to star quarterbacks, like jump throws in the face of pressure by Caleb Williams, stylized back foot passes for Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels, and quick flips on the run for Josh Allen. Plus, player-specific pocket movement, signature scramble locomotion, unique arm slots, and unique footwork fundamentals. And a new set of 50 advanced player traits informed by real on-field player tendency data pushes the fidelity of NFL stars even further. All of it designed to match the real, nuanced movements and play styles of the league's quarterbacks. Real NFL coaches bring their strategic minds to gameplay with Coach DNA. New predictive play call AI, built on real coaching data straight from NFL sidelines, defines each team's unique identity. Coaching styles like Dan Campbell's fourth down aggression, Kevin O'Connell's creative offensive approach, and more add new layers of strategy to every matchup. New dynamic coach suggestions provide play recommendations based on what your team's coach would dial up in specific game situations. And new counterintelligence offers smart play calling recommendations against opponent tendencies, making it harder for them to succeed when they keep running the same play over and over again. To authentically reflect unique NFL coaching strategies and play calling tendencies, the team has expanded playbooks with new shifts, multi-motions, and exotic blitz packages, highlighting more of the specific schemes that define a team's identity. With real-time NFL trends and new innovative plays to be added throughout the season. Physics-based offensive line block steering and new stunts and twists add strategic depth to your play calling. Wear and tear adds strategy to your roster management, and new dynamic subs let you swap out fatigued players for fresh legs without pausing the action. Custom defensive zones unlock the control to strategically adapt coverage in real time, and improved pass coverage logic enhances defender reactions to receiver routes. To accurately represent the elite skill of NFL athletes, the team overhauled player movement across every mode, with the confidence that these superstars will move in Madden 26 like they do on game day. Modernized depth charts introduce more authentic positional roles, identify mismatches, and dial up more creative plays with the new gadget slot, built for versatile offensive weapons like Deebo Samuel. On defense, left and right edge replace defensive end. Linebackers now use authentic Sam, Mike, and Will designations. Specialized nose tackle and long snapper positions are properly acknowledged. Football is always more fun when Mother Nature becomes a factor. And new football weather in Madden 26 will affect gameplay and your game plan. Extreme conditions like heavy snow, fog, rain, and wind will impact visibility, player movement, stamina, and ball security. With real weather, real data, and real coach and player tendencies, this looks like the best Madden to date, and I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it.
All right, man. What are your thoughts on that? As far as the trailer, looks amazing, looks good. There have been some people saying still do not buy Madden. It's still the same game, blah blah blah, and all this type of shit. But I want to hear your personal opinion, man. What are your thoughts with that game? Deep gameplay dive on Madden 26.
If all this is true, then this has potential to be one of the better Madden games, and it looks like they are finally trying to put effort towards the game instead of just saying, hey, running backs can jump.
All the running backs can do the Saquon Barkley behind the back jump type shit.
Like they try to do the smoke and mirrors thing. Like, we're gonna see. You know what I'm saying? With the coaching intel, I'm interested in the counter intelligence. And so motherfucker can't just run the same slant all day. You got a counteract to stop that. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody spamming the same moves. So we shall see. But,
is there one that you're most excited to see, as far as like whether it's the QB DNA, the faster movement, the new play calling system? Like, are you? I heard they did a lot of stuff for franchise mode. Or is there anything specific that you are mostly intrigued by?
The coaching tendency, the coaching playbook, and all that stuff. Just the AI building, being able to build on with certain tendencies of the coaching and all that stuff. Like they said, Dan Campbell's fourth down, risk taking that he does. Kevin O'Connell's type of plays. See what Andy Reid. Will they have Andy Reid going for a gadget play when it's at the goal line when we need a damn touchdown?
Yeah. Look, man, I'm excited. Look, I know a lot. There are some people out there that are saying it's the same old game, but from what I've seen, I think there's been a lot of great upgrades. I think it definitely, if everything is correct by what he's saying, I think you'll definitely get a different experience when you play online and offline. I think franchise mode will be definitely different. I think it's cool that we get actual replicas of the way QBs throw. I think that's pretty dope because everybody has their own unique throwing style. I think it's hella dope that you can finally juke in the backfield with the quarterback. I think that's really good. I think it's about time we are able to do that because quarterbacks can do that. I'm definitely very curious to see about the coaching and the diversity in that.
My only thing is I wish they would have had a little bit more advancement to the offensive line.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe there's more stuff that gets talked about. I really do like that you can individually customized zones. I really do like that, especially like on online play, competitive play. I think that's going to be really key. I think that would be really dope. I'd definitely be something you got to get used to. But overall, man, I'm excited. Like that deep dive was like, all right, you got my money. You know what I mean? I think we're getting the deep dive for college football on Thursday. So it'll be definitely good to see that. I know college football comes out in a couple weeks. So I'll definitely be intrigued by that. But so far it's looking good. It's looking very, very promising. Hopefully 2K can get their shit together. I know a lot of people have been saying that EA is only doing this because they need that contract. Contract is up, so they said they're going to go all out this time. You know what I mean? So very intrigued, man. So if everything comes out to be correct on what that video shows, should be a really good year, Matt.
We shall see.
And that's it, man. That's all I got for random news tonight.
All right, man. LeBron on ring culture. You want to line this up for us?
Yeah, man. So obviously he has his podcast with Steve Nash, and he kind of had this conversation where he kind of had the conversation about ring culture and what it means to and the detriment it means to like certain players. Like, he's kind of saying like, that, Charles Barkley and Karl Malone and John Stockton, they didn't win a championship. So does that make them any less of a great player than people who did? You know what I mean? And that he just doesn't understand why ring culture has become such a big conversation in sports. And I thought it'd be good to, hear your opinion about that. And what are your thoughts on ring culture as a whole in sports? And do you think that should be a conversation that gets not as much primetime real estate as it should?
I mean, that's what they do it for, right? To get the rings and the championships, right? Now, do I think there should be more of a level of context on how some of these players got these rings? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, of course, they're great. They're the best players on their team. But it wasn't like they have other great players around them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there should be a little bit more context on that talk. But when we're measuring the greatest in any sport, when we measure the greatest of all times, it's always going to go back to the rings. It's always going to go back to the titles. It's always, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, I won't even say unfortunately. That's what the ultimate goal is. When you're a fan of a team, you want to see your team. If you feel like your team is at that level, you want to see your team win a championship. You're a Lakers fan. You have expectations that your team should be winning a championship every season. I'm a Chiefs fan. I have expectations that they should be winning Super Bowls. Like, that's just what it is. And ring culture is always going to get brought up when we're talking about the greatest of all times. Now, should it diminish somebody's resume who doesn't win one? No, because there's always context and why they didn't win one. I feel like AI didn't win one because he didn't have nobody else around him.
Yeah.
If he had a couple more players around him, he might have had a couple of rings.
Yeah.
let AI have a prime Shaq in his disposal. Of course, Allen Iverson would have had a title. I'm not saying he would have had 20 of them, but he probably had one, maybe two. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always context. Charles Barkley, they went against the guy. Sometimes they just in the wrong era at the wrong time. And Charles Barkley, the Karl Malones, all them dudes, they went against Jordan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's like it just happens that way, but it doesn't diminish how great Charles Barkley was. It doesn't diminish how great Karl Malone was, and some of Sean Kemp and Gary Payton and whoever else fell victim to Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. And same thing in this era. Carmelo Anthony is still a great player. No, he didn't win a ring, but he's still a great player. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Kevin Durant doesn't go over there with Golden State, we talking about Kevin Durant the same way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just championships are luck of the draw. And of course, you got to, like I said, you got to have great players, you got to have great coaches or very good coaches. You know what I'm saying? But it's also the luck of the draw. Sometimes injuries happen to a team, and you're able to advance. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, the ball just bounces your way. It is what it is. It wasn't like the Bulls were just blowing teams out. They were in tough games against the Pacers, against the Knicks, they were in tough games to get those championships. Those were hard-earned championships. The Lakers, they were in tough games with the Kings and, you know what I'm saying, and some of the teams on the West, Portland and all them, Houston. Like, those weren't just easy wins. Like, those were tough, and they just, they're the Kobe's and the Shaqs and all them, they prevailed. It is what it is. But when we talking about ring culture, we gotta say, what are we bringing up ring culture for? Are we talking about the greatest of all time? Well, of course, we got to bring up the rings. That's what we measure them by. When you talk about Michael Jordan and LeBron James, let's just bring those two up because they're always going to get compared to. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to nobody else, but that's what they are. That's who people compare. What do they bring up? Jordan won 6, never lost in the finals. And they always bring up LeBron James' shortcoming on the finals. Even though he won 4, they talk about his shortcomings. Because they don't remember the ones you win, they remember the ones you lost.
Yeah.
When you talk about Patrick Mahomes, he won 3, but y'all remember Tampa Bay and the last one against the Eagles. That's just when you're on that high trajectory, that's just what comes up.
Yeah. No, yeah. Like I think this conversation is very interesting. Because LeBron's kind of making it seem like players don't have any involvement in this conversation when they bring it up all the time themselves. When they get combative against other players, when it becomes a comparison. Like look at Shaq and Charles, for instance. Shaq brings it up all the time. You ain't got no championships. You don't know what it's like winning a championship. Like, I don't think it demeans his greatness and what Charles Barkley was to do, but it does put a cap on it. Like, he only can be so great because he didn't win a championship. But if Charles Barkley were to win a ring, I think it elevates his greatness into a different atmosphere, in a sense. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you can't be the greatest if you don't win a chip. That's impossible. You know what I mean? The only reason why Patrick Mahomes is considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time is because of how many championships he got it, and at the age he got it at, and how dominant he's been. I think that's the main reason why people are considering him the greatest of all time, even though he doesn't have as many rings as Tom Brady. But people will have that conversations because it's just the dominance and the earliness that he had. And then low-key, he kind of changed the game to a degree, like a Steph Curry, as far as like how you viewed the quarterback position. You know what I mean? I think he put more respect on the black quarterback. You know what I mean? I think he did that. You know what I mean? And he took it to a different level. And Lamar Jackson too. Lamar Jackson is a great quarterback. He's a great quarterback. And he's a multi MVP winner. And that's something to hang your hat on. And I get it. It's tough to win a Super Bowl. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. It is definitely the luck of the draw. You got to get the bounces. You got to get the calls. It's the same with the NBA Finals or World Series or NHL. Like it's all of that. You have to get the right bounces. You got to get the right calls. You got to be lucky with injuries and all that. And you got to take that into account. But it doesn't diminish the greatness of what you did in the regular season or in parts of the playoffs. Like, yes, you will get questioned by, like, if you don't perform in the playoffs, it's going to put questions, it's going to put doubt. That's just the reality of the situation. Doesn't say you're not a great player. It's just you can't live up to the big moments when we need to count on you. And another factor into these conversations is y'all are getting paid $50-60 million, so there's going to be a lot more scrutiny. We live in the world of the internet, of the Twitters and the Facebooks and the Instagrams of instant news, where yes, people are going to have their own opinions and their own conversations about you as a player. It's a lot harder to be a superstar talent in today's game, I think, because you got to deal with so much more pressure. You got first takes, you got the speaks, you got all these conversations that you never had to deal with in the Michael Jordan era. You didn't. Every day there's a conversation of you didn't perform tonight, you didn't do this on the national media platform on an everyday basis, Monday through Friday. You have podcasts now that talk about you every single day. We're included in that. We're part of the problem. Sorry, guys, we are, but it is what it is. It's the whole reason. Like, we love talking about sports. I'm not saying we do things in the perfect aspect at all times, but we're gonna have an opinion on shit. You know what I mean? And we could be right, we could be wrong, but it's an opinion state. But and LeBron has some contributions to that too. He moved from different teams to try to win a championship. That was the reality of the situation. He put himself in the best position so he can win a championship. You know why? Because he has it tatted on him. I strive for greatness. I want to be the GOAT. I want to be King James. You can't be the king if you don't got the crown, brother. You can't be the king. You can't sit on the throne if you ain't got the crown. And he got 4 of them things, or 5 of them things. He got about 5 of them things. So look, man, at the end of the day, man, I understand, like, yes, you don't want to diminish somebody's greatness and what they were as a player. But then again, you're only capped if you can't win it. You're only going to be praised so much. But if you can't win it, you're only be so great. You only can be so great until you win it. And when you win it, then everything comes into focus on how great, because you were able to capitalize on a moment that is so hard. Not everybody can hold up the Larry O'Brien trophy. Not everybody can hold up the Vince Lombardi trophy. Not everybody can hold up the Stanley Cup. Like, and I get it with the team sports. It's tough. You need other players to be reliable on you so you can win that championship. But you get paid the most money, you get talked about the most. Like, it comes with the territory. So he's just gonna have to accept the ring culture aspect. It's not going anywhere. It's not. It's only going to be harping on even more. And I don't understand the conversation. I don't understand why he brings this up, because he's the embodiment of ring culture. He wants to be the greatest of all time. He wants to be put in the best positions. And it just comes with the territory when you want to be that. And when you're the greatest on your team, you're going to be held to higher standards. That is the reality. Anthony Edwards is being held to a higher standard. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is being held to a higher standard. Tyrese Halliburton being held to a higher standard. It just comes with the territory. You ask for that. And if as a basketball player, you want to be put in that position, because that shows the greatness that you are. I'm the best player on a professional team. You know how hard it is? It's hard enough to make a professional league team. But for you to be the best, especially the best in the league, come on, man. There's just going to be an element of different expectations for you. And you have to accept that. And the moment you accept that, and the moment you're willing to just grind for whatever it is you got to do and accept the turmoil and the bullshit you're going to have to go through, the better off you'll be. And honestly, it might help you be in the championship situation where you could potentially win some rings.
Yeah, I agree. It's like you said, it's difficult enough to try to win these championships, but at the end of the day, that's what we measure greatness on is rings. How many rings does he have? We're never going to be like, oh, this dude ain't got no rings, but this dude does, but he's better. Like, nah, like if You know what I'm saying? I said it yesterday on my Chiefs podcast. I said, if Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, if they win a Super Bowl this year and beat Patrick Mahomes and then beat him again next year, we could have a different conversation about those two against Patrick Mahomes. Now the gap is closed. You know what I'm saying? Now we're looking at Lamar Jackson different. Now we're looking at Josh Allen different. You can make the argument, oh, he's better than Patrick Mahomes right now. You know what I'm saying? Because he beat him twice in 2 years and went and won a Super Bowl. Like, you have a different conversation when they had a ring. If Scottie Pippen won a ring the year Jordan left, we look at Scottie different.
100%. 100%. It is reality.
We would look at Scottie Pippen a whole lot differently.
Yeah. And they didn't have the $60 million contracts to be part of that either. You know what I mean? So, brother, when I'm as an owner, I'm paying you $60 million. I expect you to perform. That comes with the territory, guys. Look, you can't get these big contracts and expect you can just get away with it, not winning. That's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Let's talk about your Lakers.
Yes.
So the Buss family is selling the majority stake, about 66%, in the Los Angeles Lakers to Mark Walter, the CEO chair of TWG Global and controlling owner of the Dodgers. The deal values the Lakers at a record-breaking $10 billion, making it the most expensive sale of any USA pro sports franchise. It surpasses the Boston Celtics, $6.1 billion earlier this year. And it marks a new era in Laker basketball. How are you feeling, sir, about this sale?
Man, it feels very surreal. The Buss family has been synonymous to the Lakers organization. People have to understand that I get the Lakers have been viewed as this big-time franchise that is one of the most well-known franchises in professional sports across the globe. You know what I mean? This is a global brand with the Lakers. But in the reality of the situation with the Buss family is that they didn't have the capital. You know what I mean? I think the only thing they had as far as like equity was this Lakers team. It's not like Steve Ballmer. When Steve Ballmer has a team, plus he has all his equity from Microsoft and all those deals. Like, we were kind of ran like a mom and pop shop. You know what I mean? So to have somebody with the capital that he does, I think I don't know what his net worth is, but I think the company he works for, I think they're worth have equity of like $325 billion or some crazy shit like that. Look, it's not going to be like the situation with the Dodgers where they were able to just buy players. Like, they were able to get Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani and to fill up that. It's not like we can do that. Now, obviously, we're not going to be as harping about any kind of like tax situation as far as like if we go over the second cap or anything like that. Like, they'll be able to pay that, but it's not like we can get Giannis and Jokic on the team with Luka Doncic. That's not happening. I do think that it will help with the infrastructure with the Lakers. I think we could have a better scouting program. I think we could be able to afford, let's say, hypothetically, Rob Pelinka doesn't get things accomplished like we think he can, then maybe they can go out and afford a Bob Myers or a situation like that where they can afford that, a better medical team, a better scouting program, a better facilities, whatever the case. Like, you got to understand, the Lakers don't even own Crypto Arena. They're in the lease, so they don't even own their own stadium. So I think that could be another conversation in that of them maybe either purchasing crypto or maybe building a new arena for the Lakers. I think that could be another conversation. I think we're just in the realm of we now have big boy money, and I think the NBA should be very, very nervous about this situation. McManaman has already stated that LeBron James and Luka Doncic are pretty excited about the situation moving forward with new management. He obviously has a healthy relationship with the Lakers. Like, he was already a part of the Lakers franchise because he owned a minority stake of the Lakers beforehand. He just now purchased a majority stake of it. So he's already familiar with the Lakers brand. He's really good friends with Magic Johnson. You see what they're doing with the Dodgers. So it's not like he's not going to be striving for this organization to be winners. I think it's a plus, man. And I'm excited for the future of the Lakers, man. This is a very, very big moment. I do want to give all my praises to the Buzz family. I'm not going to be one of those type of people who are going to shit on Jeannie Buss or anything like that. I get it. We've had some bad years under her, but for the most part, we were able to win a championship with her. She did the best that she could, and I wish her none of the best. I know she's still going to be governor of the Lakers, but we all know what that means. Mark Cuban was in the same position, and we all know what that means. It's only a matter of time before I don't think she'll be as far as involvement with the organization, because then day you're majority owner, you're going to want to say in certain things. So I'm definitely excited because we never have to hear about Kurt Rambis and Linda Rambis having any opportunity to have any say in anything that's going to happen with the Lakers. Get them two motherfuckers far away from my Lakers. Please do. But besides that, I'm really excited. I'm very curious to see what this means for LeBron. I'm very curious to see what this means for Luka, for free agency, and everything else moving forward. You know what I mean? So congratulations. I'm really excited, and I'm hoping. Hey, man, this is gonna be. We got money now, baby. We're like Monopoly now, you know what I mean? So, hey, we ain't broke no more, baby. Hey, mama, we moved up. Mama, we moved on up. You know what I mean? We ain't broke no more. You know what I'm saying? We up there with the Celtics. We're up there with with the Timberwolves. We're up there with Steve Ballmer now. Like, hey, man, be nervous. Be nervous. We back, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I see this big smile on your face. I'm like, yeah.
Hell yeah. It's gonna be good. And we got the All-Star game next year in LA too. So I think the next couple of things are gonna be very interesting. I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with the stadium. I know it's a lease. Maybe they buy it. Maybe they decide to build something else. I would not be surprised about that. But hey, man. It's looking good, man. It's looking good. Looking good. And shout out to the Buzz family, man. Y'all $10 billion richer. So congrats.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. I know we're supposed to do a wide receiver rank game. I'm gonna push it to Monday, man. It's getting late.
Yeah, I'm not mad. It's almost midnight. So.
It's getting late. So
yeah.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and land this thing, man. You look at the screen, you'll see the QR code for our WWE shop. Scan that, go there. You'll see all the merch from all the WWE superstars, all your favorite ones from Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, to Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill. Get all your WWF or WWE accessories and shirts and all kinds of stuff in our WWE shop. If you want to donate to the Cris Mal podcast, you can donate to our Cash App, Cris Mal podcast. We'll appreciate anything that you donate to us. Whatever streaming platform you use to listen to your podcast, the Cris Mal podcast is available. Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio. First time watcher on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and notification button. So when we go live Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and Wednesdays 9-ish Pacific Standard Time, jump into live. You can talk about these topics. We want to hear from you. Whether you agree with us or disagree with us, we want to hear from you. So subscribe to the channel. Whatever social media platform you use, whether it be X, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Twitch, Facebook, whatever you use, you can follow us at Cris Mal Podcast or Cris Mal, and our YouTube is Cris Mal Podcast. You can follow us on that too. If you have critiques, feedback, or if you have a question or topic that you want us to bring up on the show, and we like said topic, we will bring it up. We'll shout you out because we want to show love to those who show love to us. So go ahead and hit us up via DM, email, or our mentions. All right, good people. Hope you guys probably sleep right now. Hope you have a good rest of your night. And we will be back on Monday. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Be safe out there this weekend. Enjoy the finals tomorrow. Probably gonna be the last game. Maybe we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Maybe another.
Hold up. Sunday we will confirm if we're going to have a show Monday because brother might have to go to jury duty, so we will see about that.
So yeah, I might have to put somebody in prison. So,
so we will confirm. I will find out Sunday night if I have to go to jury duty, and then we will post it on our social media whether we will have a show on Monday or it will be Wednesday. So
for sure. All right, good people. Until Monday, possibly or Wednesday.
Enjoy y'all weekend, y'all.